Hi, I want to welcome you back to Undertaking Cinema. We have a special guest. We have Graham Denman, who is a wonderful young director, writer, and actor as well, I believe. And I want to introduce him.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Bill?
Good. That was awkward.
No, not at all. Not at all, man. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for taking the time to have me.
Yeah, I just want to just chat a little bit about your career and what you've been doing and stuff like that. So I know you've got a new thing out that's called Panic Pizza Party.
Pizza Panic Party.
I got it wrong.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. Everybody does it. It's 3 P's in a row, so totally understand. But yeah, Pizza Panic Party.
So how did that happen?
Well, when I originally started in the business, I started as an effects artist, and two of the people I worked with a lot were Mark Villalobos and Heather Mages. Now, cut to all these years later, because I was in 2007 when I started, and now they've started their own company called Gorgasma, and they called me and basically told me what they wanted to do, and they said, hey, we've got this idea for this really cool short. It's going to be the first thing our company puts out. We think you'd be perfect for it. We think we would really love to work with you on putting out our first piece of content. And so I was like, okay. And I threw in my ideas. They threw in theirs. And here we are.
Well, the response has been overwhelming, and but this isn't your first outing. I mean, you made a feature. Was the Greenlight your first feature?
Greenlight was my first feature film. Shot it in 2017. Movie came out in 2020. And then the world ended with a pandemic for a while. But no, yeah, I'd done a feature. I've done multiple shorts prior to this for Eli Roth's company, Crypt TV. I did like 5 shorts for them that did pretty well, and that just kind of stacked up enough to get me to Greenlight, and then now I'm here.
So you start out doing makeup effects.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of makeup effects were you doing?
Well, I was basically a shop rat. I was a green kid who really just loved movies and wanted to be part of movies. And when I met Mark, I was working at an Italian restaurant at the time, and I was just then leaving the job, and he said, you seem to really love movies and horror a lot. I said, I do. It means the world to me. I would do anything to work here. I'd take out your trash. And he goes, well, what are you doing Saturday? I said, nothing. Why? And he said, well, start coming in. I'll teach you everything I know. And from there, I got to experience how to make molds, hair punching. Being on set was basically my film school because I never went to proper film school. I was a VCR filmmaker where I just watched thousands and thousands and thousands of movies for my whole life. And when I was working in the effects world, I was getting to make bodies and mess around with blood and effects and things, but it was mostly like, oh, okay, so a matte box and a stinger and this and that, and just putting it all together and seeing how productions really ran in person.
Now, you've done a lot of acting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which do you prefer? I mean, what's your...
I don't know. I mean, directing, definitely. So I do know. I love directing more than anything in the world, and being at the heart of a production and really helping form that vision and see it come to life. In acting, I love the ability of letting go, becoming someone else, really chewing on material I've been given. Now, most of the movies I've been in are, I've been in a lot of schlocky B movies and horror films and stuff. I think we all pay our dues by doing that from time to time. But it's always been a blast. And I feel like acting is one of those things I would like to do more of. I've just never been the kind of person who wants to be in a casting call room and getting all my headshots done and really going that extra mile. But if people are like, hey, Graham's a good actor. I've seen his work. I know he can do it. Hey, Graham, you want to do this thing? I'll do it.
So let's go backtrack a little bit to Greenlight. So how did that come about? I mean, what was the origins of that?
So I'd been wanting to make my first feature for a really long time. It was always the dream of getting to the feature. And I had had a couple of things fall apart over the years, whether it was scripts I was working on with other people or scripts that were coming to me. and nothing was hitting. And eventually, I had a friend at the time named Eric who was a producer, and he called me one day and he said, "Hey, I have these investors that I know and these producers that I know who want to make a movie. It's low budget. I can't do it," because at the time he was already doing like multi-million-dollar films, and so he couldn't go backwards. And he said, "But you're a really talented, undiscovered gem of a filmmaker, and I would like to position you for you to make it." And I said, "Well, what's the movie?" He goes, "Well, that's the thing. We don't have a movie yet. We just have financing." He goes, "But if you come up with something, maybe we can get you there."
We're really looking to hire directors with more experience.
Just means that something even better is coming soon.
So what are you working on now?
I was just a production assistant on a shoot.
Like an intern?
I just want to make movies. I have what it takes. I will literally work every single day for the rest of my life. If one person just gives me an opportunity to make a movie.
Good movie.
Let's do this!
This is your moment.
I don't know what to say, except thank you.
I'm really glad to hear you say that, kid.
I was born for this.
Got kind of an unusual request. I need the final kill in the movie to be real.
Gotta finish the movie, right?
Jack!
You need to leave now. Or he's gonna kill everyone. Never seen a guy before in my life! I just want to make movies.
Actually, we don't do horror.
But I thought you guys just did a horror film.
That was different. It was elevated.
What was the schedule on that movie? I'm curious.
Greenlight's schedule was a 15-day shoot, and we shot the movie for $50,000.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean that's a very tough shoot when you're 15 days. I shot a thing for Silver Pictures that was like an 18-day shoot, but it had a lot of locations and stuff like that. And I was so burned out by the
I believe it.
by the time I was done shooting it, and you never get half of what you want, but
Never.
of course that's movie making.
Yeah, I always say, get what you need and then get what you want.
Yeah.
If you can.
It's funny, I've always found like if you let the camera run for a little longer than you should, somehow it always saves your butt.
It does. It really does. Whether it's before the take or after, just let it run a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to get in the editing room and need that extra cut point or someone just giving a look that wasn't even in there. And you go, oh, that perfectly works for this reaction.
Or and sometimes I've had like that they left it running and we have a background now.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
You've
got your plate shot. Yeah.
You need to bring them back or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the magic of filmmaking.
Now, was that a tough shoot for you?
It was a tough shoot in terms of being very go, go, go. Post-production was a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Because that's when the investors of that movie kind of started putting their paws in it in ways that I felt were disruptive to some of like the creative process. But at the end of the day, I'm still very proud of the movie, and that movie is like 95% me. And for a first-time feature for $50,000, I've seen a lot worse. So very proud of it.
I thought it was great. I thought you did a great job.
Thanks,
with it.
man.
So yeah. So Pizza Panic.
Party. Yeah, Pizza Panic Party. The easiest name to remember. No,
many P's.
Too many P's.
Got it.
It's becoming a problem.
I think
the fourth
one ear can only hear so many P's.
That's probably
You have to
true.
cut it here.
Yeah. The next one will not be called Pizza Panic Party. It'll be called Pizza Panic Part 2. No. So Pizza Panic Party, yeah, that came about through Mark and Heather contacting me to do that. And I hadn't made anything since Greenlight. Problem was, once the movie came out, it didn't do terribly great, and then a pandemic happened. and then the strike happened. So it's just been these years going by of just really doing nothing. And when Pizza Panic Party came to me, it really felt kind of like a breath of fresh air of like, okay, let go of everything else from before, focus on something really fun. And I started on this journey because of my love of horror movies. Like, I love all cinema, but there's a special place in my heart, as I'm sure there is for you, obviously, in the horror genre. And to get back to that was really nice, because Greenlight was more of like a drama thriller, kind of a neo-noir, if you will.
Yeah, these movies are very different.
Very different.
Yeah,
very different.
Because Greenlight is very much like you say, like a noir. It's got a really dark tone to it and stuff like that. Whereas this is just about having a blast and having fun with the.
Yeah, it's a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
A Pizza Panic popcorn. No, it's a movie where, yeah, you just got to let go and have fun and go on a ride, and you didn't have to worry about too much seriousness. And I wanted it to be scary, but we really wanted the 80s nostalgia vibe of Pizza Panic Party to come through, and half the magic of those 80s horror movies is the fun you had watching them.
I saw it coming on the pizza.
It's totally the mushrooms and olives. I told you they were bogus.
Are you on drugs? Are you on drugs?
It's coke, isn't it? Oh my god, what the hell?
Something is in me. I can't stop it.
Holy shit, Margot. We're gonna get you some help.
No, leave. It wants me to hurt you. I know what it's doing.
Margot, stop it. You're scaring us.
Get out!
Well, let's talk a little bit about your influences. You talk about other movies, stuff like that. So, who are your favorite directors?
There's a lot, and it's hard to boil it down. But if I had to pick a top 10, Martin Scorsese, Michael Mann, Park Chan-wook, Oliver Stone, Paul Thomas Anderson, Brian De Palma, Stanley Kubrick. But everybody says Kubrick. So in place of Kubrick as well, I'll put Billy Wilder.
Not many people bring up Billy Wilder. He's one of the greatest directors of all time.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I mean,
directors. Yeah.
Sunset Boulevard, Some Like It Hot. I mean, the guy really knew what he was doing. Double Indemnity, so good.
That's such a good movie.
So good. And I feel like that gets lost a lot on my generation, especially, is that I don't see people my age talking about older films a lot, whereas I come from a world where all I watched was older films growing up, and so they've just become kind of part of my makeup.
I think that's kind of weird, though. It's like, I've noticed that it's like, you talk to any young people and they think, if you say old horror movie, they go, oh, like Halloween. And I go, no.
Yeah, no, I'm talking black and white.
And what's weird is when I was growing up, it's like I was growing up on watching Frankenstein. Now, Frankenstein was long before my era, believe it or not. And, but I loved watching old horror films. But young kids, they don't want to watch old horror movies.
I think there's something about something being old that is a turnoff to younger people because... and this isn't to be rude to this generation, but I just think they're not mentally developed enough sometimes to understand that just because it's old doesn't mean it's not good. And just because it's old doesn't mean it can't be your favorite movie. Yeah. It's just about taking the time to see it. It's like subtitles. If you just took the time to read subtitles, there's so many other beautiful films out there you could be watching. So where was I? So Stanley Kubrick, Billy Wilder, William Friedkin, David Lynch, Paul Thomas Anderson, Tony Scott, and Quentin Tarantino.
Nice.
I think I might have named 11.
Okay.
But
All right, so top films.
My top favorite films, my top 10 at least for now. It's always evolving. Blowout, De Palma. Night of the Hunter by Charles Laughton is one of my favorite movies ever. It's
Only movie ever made, only directly.
and that it breaks my heart, but also makes me so happy in a weird way, because when you're just one and done and you made something that strong, that to me is beautiful. And I know you and I are both fans of Lillian Gish.
Yeah.
So seeing her and Robert
I'm
Mitchum.
in love with Lillian Gish.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. Have you ever seen The Wind?
I have not seen The Wind.
Oh
No.
my God! If you like Lillian Gish, you have to see The Wind.
Okay.
There's some sequences in there. She's like trapped in this little shed, and the wind is blowing, and she's out in the middle of nowhere, and there's like sand is blowing, and the lantern's like going back and forth, and she's like starting to flip out, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing, yeah.
I'm sold on just that. For me, in Night of the Hunter, the shot of Shelley Winters underwater, spoiler. Yeah. Is that too soon? Have you guys seen that one yet? Yes, in Night of the Hunter, when Shelley Winters is underwater, there's this gorgeous wide shot. Outside of Night of the Hunter, Heat by Michael Mann is one of my favorite films. Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop.
Yeah.
Is one of my favorite movies ever made, just because I think that is a perfect movie. I think it's a perfect B movie. People can say what they want about what type of movie it is, but it holds up. It's a strong script. Performances are great. Set pieces are wonderful. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end that's very tight. Let's see here. Night Moves, directed by Arthur Penn. That's my favorite Gene Hackman movie. I know a lot of people would say like The Conversation, French Connection.
You know, I watched The Conversation recently because I heard about it for years and years. I just didn't get it. I don't understand.
Really?
Yeah, I just didn't understand why it's so revered. I mean, and believe me, I love Coppola.
Sure. I was going to say Coppola's
I love
amazing.
Coppola. But that movie, I just didn't get it.
This might be an odd one for some people, but both of these movies changed my life, so it's a tie for these ones, is U-Turn and Natural Born Killers. That specific era of Oliver Stone, like I love Platoon, but those two movies and Robert Richardson's cinematography is so wild in that film that it really showed me what you could do in film that I hadn't really seen before. The insane gel lighting and just the really aggressive nature of using all these different types of film stock in order to achieve this one kind of psychotic vision, I thought was Old Boy by Park Chan-wook. Masterpiece, beautiful storytelling, incredible character arcs, and I'm a big fan of just downward spiral character studies, and something about the paranoia in that movie and the way it's shot and the music. It's a very poetic tragedy, that film. Raging Bull. I love all Scorsese, but that one's got to be the tip top for me in terms of, again, downward spiral character studies.
Raging Bull is interesting because it's like, that's a movie I love and hate at the same time.
Huh, why?
I love it because it's shot so brilliantly. The characters are great. The entire filmmaking is spot on perfect, okay? What I don't like is that in some weird way, it encourages that kind of behavior. And that bothers me.
I could see that.
You know, that suddenly making a movie that sort of glorifies, beating your wife. And, it's like, it doesn't, but it does in some fashion.
I see what you're saying. I would agree in the sense that there is definitely something tied to it of, oh, well, if you're a boxer and if you have money, or if you're just some big guy, you can do whatever you want, and that's not cool. But I do believe that, well, actually, Pesci's character is quite irredeemable by the end too, because he sleeps with his wife.
Yeah.
But I feel like that story is so specific to that guy because he's real that I don't think it's glorifying those horrible acts, but rather kind of just putting them on display. It's almost like you really are watching a raging bull in a zoo, and just how he's destroying everything around him, and his terrible temper, his terrible attitude, and how he gets himself into that position by the end of the film. So yes, I agree that it glorifies some of those things, but I also think he gets his comeuppance for being so terrible. Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now.
Great movie.
Masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. And
Okay, now let's go to another subject.
Sure.
Which is movies that aren't good,
yeah.
but you just can't turn them off. You just,
Oh, I've got a couple of those.
you just have to watch them if they're on television.
Sure. Mine are really weird, and I attribute it to my generation, my age and stuff, and what I grew up with. I'm really nostalgic for the 1995 Mortal Kombat film. It's not a good movie, but it does so many things right that, because I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, for any of you out there watching, love Mortal Kombat. It's one of my favorite video games ever. I just also love the story and the lore of those characters. But the 95 movie it's such an anomaly in that it shouldn't have worked at all, because it's basically a PG-13, no gore, no blood movie, which is what makes Mortal Kombat what it is. But it's so cheesy that it almost kind of feels like you're watching a more updated Shaw Brothers film in a way. I don't know, but I just really love Mortal Kombat. Another would be Spawn. Yeah, I know. Hey, you asked me what's bad.
Okay. I don't know that I've ever seen Spawn.
It's okay. Are you familiar with the character Spawn at all?
No.
So Spawn was a comic book.
It's a comic book, right? Yeah.
It started in the 90s, I want to say in 1992. And young Graham, who was playing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batmans and things of that nature, discovered Spawn. And Spawn was full of demons and hell, and it was violent, and there was blood and guts. But at the core, Spawn is really a story about a guy who dies, makes a deal with the devil so he can come back to Earth to see his wife. It's a love story. But there's so much cool imagery in there provided by Todd McFarlane, via the comics at least, that when the movie came out, for me, little Graham was just like, I gotta see Spawn. I gotta see it. And I forced my mom to take me. And yeah, anytime that movie pops up on TV, I have to watch it. And it's not a good movie. People shit on this movie all the time, and I don't care, because I think it's great and I love it. Event Horizon. I think Event Horizon's phenomenal. Weird that all three that I've named are from the 90s, so I guess that really is about my age. But I just love a lot of movies, and so pinpointing anything that's bad but that I just have to watch it, it's hard, but I could probably name a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot out there. Like Killer Clowns from Outer Space technically isn't a...
People love Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's a B movie, and it's not technically... It's not Apocalypse Now, but there's something I get out of it anytime it's on, and I'm like, I gotta stop what I'm doing. Let's watch this. Killer Clowns is
I had some old movies like that, like George Zuko in Voodoo Man.
I haven't seen Voodoo Man. What's Voodoo Man?
Oh, yeah, I don't even know if I can describe it. Anyway,
okay.
It's George Zuko, and he's kidnapping women for Bela Lugosi, who's trying to bring his dead wife back to life and stuff.
Evelyn, my dear, I brought a young lady to help you, Miss...
Saunders. Stella Saunders.
Yes, my wife. This young lady may be able to help you.
Is your wife ill?
She's dead.
Okay.
Which reminds me, there is a movie that is actually good of that era that's sort of unknown, and it's called The Devil Commands. Have you ever seen it?
I have seen The Devil Commands. That is a good movie. I think I've seen that with you.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
That's the one with the guy with the helmet and all the stuff, right?
Yeah, he's got all the bodies in these
That's right.
In these machines. And
it's a great movie.
And he's trying to contact his dead wife and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff. And it's there's a bunch of movies which have what I call the swoon, which is this just you can't put your finger on it, but it's just like creepy, but kind of compelling mood and atmosphere that just like takes you someplace.
Absolutely.
And that's one of those movies, you know, it's just got this weird tone to it, you know. And
I loved it when you showed it to me. And another one that I would put up there, I mean, this is a very, very good movie, is The Black Cat.
yeah, Black Cat. That's one of that's like top of my list of great movies.
So good.
Yeah, that movie is so good.
It's a beautiful piece of work.
And if you pitched that movie to a studio today, you'd never get it made.
Probably not. No. But in the context of that time,
Yeah.
cinema.
Yeah. Anyway, well, great. Listen, I want to thank you for being here. And is there any last words you?
First of all, thank you for even having me. I have great respect for you, and it's an honor to be here. So this means a lot. So thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here.
Of course.
And,